So imagine you're shopping on Etsy or eBay or Mercari or wherever you may shop online, and you're looking for a somewhat decent Therian mask. Now this can be for any reason. You could just be curious, you could just be bored, just wanting to look, or you could be actually looking for something. And more than likely, you're going to find something really pretty. Let's say this, for example. This is really nice, and you're kind of scared to look at the price because of how today's society is. So you take a little peek at the price, and it's like $100-something. Yes, it's happened to me before. It's most likely happened to all of you. It's really disappointing whenever looking at the prices of masks that really shouldn't be priced that high. So that's what today's video is going to be about. Now, I know I already talked about fursuit prices being high, but that's kind of understandable. I don't think that $1,000 for a head is okay by any means, but I think that, obviously, if you're not lazy, you're going to make the base by yourself. You're going to spend hours, probably not hours, but it's a very tedious process of taping it and then sewing for hours on end. And then, putting the eyes in, putting the mouth in, the teeth, the nose, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I understand charging for labor, but most fursuit makers overcharge for labor. But overall, it's a really hard job, and it takes a lot of work. That's understandable. The mask, however, that confuses me. I think the biggest thing is probably materials that people are worried about, which I completely understand. Materials aren't cheap, and depending on where you are, they might be cheaper or more expensive. But I still don't think that like $120 plus is okay for a mask, regardless of how much the materials were. I just don't feel like any mask is worth that much, especially because most high-quality masks that claim to be high quality aren't really the best quality. I'm not hating on anyone here. I'm just saying I just don't think that the price matches their actual worth. Now, of course, the materials, fur can be really expensive. Of course, people choose, what fur they get. So if you're choosing $50 fur, that's not my fault that you are choosing to use a more expensive fur option when Hobby Lobby fur is and I'm not saying just Hobby Lobby, but I'm just saying any kind of fur that could be cheaper is just as good. It's not the buyer's fault that you're choosing to make it more expensive. And honestly, same for felt. I don't know where y'all live, but for me, you can find little felt squares for 90-something cents in Walmart, and that's usually what I've used because I don't make very many felted masks. In fact, I barely make them anymore, so I don't use a lot of felt, so I don't get a lot at a time. But in reality, felt typically isn't that expensive depending on where you get it from. And I understand that hot glue and other fabrics are pretty expensive, but still not really quite that much. As for just being high quality in general, I completely understand, and I think that maybe $50 would be a decent price, because it's just a mask when you really think about it. It's just something that covers the front of your face. I don't think anyone, I know a lot of people would, but I personally would not pay over $30 for a mask, which the only mask commission I've ever gotten from someone, or that I've commissioned someone, it was $30. Really good deal. Surprising that it was that cheap, and that mask is actually back there, the black one. So overall, it is possible to get a good mask for not that expensive if you just choose not to overcharge. Let's take this silly guy, for example. This is my most recently finished pre-made. I'm going to take his tongue off for this demonstration because I don't want it to fall off. So, this is my most recently finished pre-made. He's really nice. I haven't done a clay nose in a while, personally, so it's not the best, but it is pretty nice. He's a little albino dog. Told everyone my excuse for not wanting to paint the mask is just making it albino. But overall, he's pretty nice, right? This is really high quality, and this is built off of a custom base made with foam. So it's very flexible, very durable. I would crush it up, but I don't want to damage the nose possibly. So overall, really nice mask. Take a guess at how much that one is in the comments. And I guess I'll reveal it at the end of the video, maybe. Or maybe I'll just reveal it in the pinned comment after y'all take some guesses. But just take a guess at how much you think that is, and you'll be very surprised. So overall, I guess my point is, I feel the need to normalize charging less and less for masks, because in reality, they're not worth quite that much. And people act like masks are like they're a luxury item, like fursuits. And in reality, I think that masks should be more accessible, especially because there's kind of younger Therians that don't really have really money, or some people don't even have really access to shop online, so it's sad just how inaccessible masks are to everyone. And like I've explained before, gear isn't needed by any means, but it is pretty nice to have. It is nice looking, it looks good in videos and such, so masks are pretty nice to have, although they are not needed, and I feel that they need to be more accessible to people. So I feel like we should really be rethinking our prices a bit, and try to think, is it really worth this much? I know it feels like you put a lot of work into it, and that just means you're practicing, especially if you're kind of a beginner or haven't been doing them for a long time. If it gets to the point to where it feels like it's hard work, you need a bit more practice. Personally, this guy took me a few days because I had to wait for the nose to dry, but overall, I enjoy making the masks. I really do. They're very therapeutic, and they only take probably less than 24 hours. I don't know, I don't really count each mask, but they only take about a day to make, and I really, truly enjoy making them. So if it feels like hard work, perhaps that's not for you, or you need more practice. So overall, not trying to be hateful in this video at all. I'm just saying that people way overcharge and are sometimes pretty rude about it when someone asks about the price, when in reality, I'm just trying to help and kind of normalize not having expensive masks that are like impossible to get for most people. It's sad that in today's world, it's like to get a decent quality mask is like $100. So that's all for today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. I apologize for the lack of posting. I have not had a very nice last couple of days, so I'm going to be kind of taking a little bit of a partial break from YouTube, kind of just not really posting a whole lot. As much as I would like to, I just need a little mental break, so of course I'll be responding to comments and posting here and there, but I don't really know if I can handle very much of consistent posting for the next couple of days. I don't really know, guys. But either way, thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye!